Thanks, John. And Rich, thanks so much for joining us today in the midst of what is a very interesting time for the theatrical movie business. Just yesterday, we heard from Disney that they aim to distribute some of their films in theaters. At the same time, they offer them on their streaming service, Disney Plus, for an additional $30 fee. I'm wondering what you make of all of this and what kind of threat it poses to the movie business.
So, Julia, I think you a little bit buried the lead with your question. I think the lead was that Disney is reaffirming its commitment to the theatrical business. They kept about 7 movies, theatrical only release, all the big Marvel movies for the year, Jungle Cruise, a big Pixar movie, Luca. And as a matter of fact, in the Q&A, Bob Chapek said we made $13 billion last year from theatrical, and that's not easy to replace. And he said, we're going to be a little bit flexible during the pandemic. And the movies you referred to are very early releases, March kind of things. And I think what he did was very smart. I mean, while we're in the middle of a pandemic, especially in the United States, he said, we're going to be a little bit flexible, but he sort of said to protect that box office when things change, we're going to change. So I thought it was overall very good. And then the last point is the buzz coming out of this, other than the financial buzz, is that the next Star Wars is going to be directed by Patty Jenkins. And I know they announced a lot of TV episodes and things, but as with the movie business, the buzz comes out of the theatrical.
Yeah, you are right, Rich, that there was an affirmation of a commitment to the theatrical business, but it sounds like there will be a lot of flexibility in terms of deciding what content is going to go straight to Disney Plus and what will have a theatrical release. But I do want to point out, though, that this stands in contrast to what we just heard from Warner Media. They announced that they're, for the next year, going to be releasing 18 films in theaters at the same time as they're available on HBO Max. Does that pose a bigger threat to the theatrical movie-going business?
You know, I wouldn't use the word threat. I think it was mostly a lack of understanding of a lot of elements of how the theatrical business works. First of all, when people make movies, they're different than making TV things for streaming. So when big directors like Chris Nolan or Denis Villeneuve or Patty Jenkins envision their movies, they envision them on the big screen, and they do special effects that way, lighting, camera. They're telling a visual story in a certain way. That doesn't translate well to the small screen, and it's not what the talent wants, as you know, Julia, because there's been a huge outpouring this week. They've had a lot to say about that. So I do understand what Time Warner did, or Warner Media, during the pandemic. It makes a lot of sense. You know, if they wanted Wonder Woman out and they wanted to put it on their platform where people don't feel safe to go, I get that. But if you look at international results, IMaX is a global company. We're in 82 countries, and we're killing it in China and Japan, where our attendance is basically at 100% of where it was pre-pandemic. So I just don't, for the life of me, understand why Warner Media would give up that box office. It doesn't make any sense, except during a pandemic.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.